Apparently, I'm a Florida transplant. Fine. But I have a question. When does it expire? 5 years? 10? 20? What if I own a home here? Pay property taxes here? Build a business here? And what if my friends are here? My routines are here? My future is here. And when I'm somewhere else and say, I'm going home, I'm in Florida, still a transplant? And who gets to decide? The person who was born here? The person who's lived here longer? The DMV? Or me? Because if we're going to keep calling people transplants, there has to be a point when the transplant actually takes root, right? Well, maybe not. Because before everyone who moved here starts agreeing with me, I think native Floridians might have a point. Imagine this. You grow up in Florida, and slowly the place changes around you. More people, more houses, more development, more traffic, higher housing costs. Places that used to feel quiet are not quiet anymore. Then I arrive, and what do I say? Well, back home we did it this way. Oh boy. And here's the question nobody wants to ask. If everything was so much better back home, why did you leave? Because maybe native Floridians aren't irritated that people moved here. Maybe they're irritated that people who moved here immediately starting trying to make Florida more like the place they left. So let me ask you something. Did you move to Florida? Or did you just move your furniture here? Because those are not the same thing. And if that's true, we have another problem. What happens if your furniture has been here for 20 years? Let me give you two people. Person number one moved to Florida 20 years ago. Person number two, 5 years ago. Who is the Floridian? Come on, 20 years, easy. Except person number one still constantly talks about back home. Back home, restaurants were better. Back home, people drove better. Back home, schools were better. Back home, everything worked differently. Florida has had 20 years and apparently still hasn't gotten it right. Person number two, 5 years. But their friends are here, their routines are here, they're involved here, their plans are here, and their future, yes, their future is here. So I'm going to ask you again, who is the Floridian? Still the 20-year person? Maybe. But if you hesitated, we just broke the easiest answer to my original question. Because apparently, time isn't enough. So what is it? And here's where this gets even stranger. What if becoming a Floridian happens before you even know it happened? Let's do a quick test. When did 65 Fahrenheit became cold? When did someone say, it's only 15 miles away, and you immediately ask, yeah, but how long is it going to take me to get there? When did you develop a favorite Publix? When did hurricane supplies become things you just have in the pantry and in the house? And here is the big one. When did you stop saying back home? Maybe nobody announces, congratulations, you're a Floridian now. Maybe Florida just slowly changed you. until one random Tuesday, you're standing in Publix, your friends up north think you're at the beach, and you realize, oh my God, wait, I'm not visiting Florida anymore. I'm just living my life. So that's it, right? That's when you become a Floridian. Except, wait, knowing which road to avoid at 5:15 a.m. doesn't mean you belong here. Knowing how Florida works isn't the same as Florida feeling like home. So maybe we failed another test. And what if you've done everything you're supposed to do? Florida driver's license? Check. House? Check. Favorite Publix? Check. Obviously. You know the roads. You know the weather. You know how things work. So why 6 months later do you still feel like a stranger? Let me ask you something different. Who do you call when your car won't start? Who's your doctor? Your dentist? Your hairdresser? Where is your church? Your favorite restaurant? Who knows your name? Who would notice if you disappeared for a week? Maybe when you relocate, you just don't move once. You move twice. The first move, it's easy to see, right? Boxes, furniture, moving truck, keys, new address. The second move, you have to move your life, your people, your relationships, your routines, and all that invisible infrastructure you spent years building. Yes, you have to move it. And suddenly you're a beginner again, because you didn't just leave a house. You left an entire operating system behind. And now you have to build another one. Okay, so that's relocation. Building the new operating system, putting down roots, problem solved. Except, what if the house you bought is making that hard, very hard? I'm a realtor, right? So let's say I show you this house. It has an amazing kitchen, amazing primary suite, big backyard, perfect floor plan, great price, everything you wanted. And the view, oh my God, to die for. Do you buy it? Probably yes. But wait, your new friends? 45 minutes away. Your commute? Oh, you hate it. Your favorite places? Somewhere else. Every weekend, you get in the car and leave. So let me ask you again. Is it still the perfect house? Because now something strange is happening. You love your house. You're in love with your house. But your life keeps happening somewhere else. So did you choose the right house? Or did you choose the wrong life around it? And this is where I think real estate gets relocation wrong. We celebrate closing like we've crossed the finish line. Oh, congratulations! Here's your keys. You relocated. Wait, no. You just changed addresses. Closing proves your furniture has somewhere to go. It doesn't prove your life belongs there. So maybe the biggest relocation mistake isn't buying the wrong house. Maybe the biggest relocation mistake is building your life around the house instead of choosing a house around the life you're trying to build. And if that's my definition of putting down roots, I suddenly have a problem. Because now I have to take my own test. Let's see. I wasn't born in Florida. I wasn't even born in the United States. I came from Romania when I was 25. I came to Ottawa in Canada, then USA, Chicago, Tampa, now Wesley Chapel. So where in that timeline did I supposedly become a Floridian? Buying a home, driver license, property taxes, building a business, calling Florida home? I chose Florida. My future is here. But here's where my own argument becomes inconvenient. I'm also building new routines, new relationships, a new community. So have I actually put down roots, or am I still putting them down? And maybe that's okay. Roots take time. So perhaps one day I simply get to say, okay, that's it. I'm Floridian. Except, do I actually get to decide that? Because somewhere a native Floridian is already saying, nope, you're still a transplant. And now we have a completely different argument. So who gets to decide? Let's make this even harder. Imagine I lived here 20 years. I built my business here. I built relationships here. I contributed to my community and, maybe raised my family here. Florida is unquestionably home. And somebody born here tells me, oh, you're not a Floridian. You're a transplant. So who's right? Me? Them? Both? Neither? Because here is my first instinct. Nobody gets to tell you where home is. But wait, let's flip it. Can I arrive in Florida tomorrow, unpack my boxes, and announce, great news, everybody, I'm one of you now? And that doesn't feel right either. So maybe home and belonging are not exactly the same thing. Maybe I get to decide where home is, but belonging, that involves other people. Okay, so what earns it? 5 years, 10, 20, community involvement, relationships, contribution, and who exactly is keeping score? Which creates one final problem. What if the test we spent this entire episode looking for doesn't really exist? Let's try 5 years later. Why 5? 20? We already broke that one. Own a house? Plenty of people own houses here and don't live here full time. Florida driver's license? Paperwork. Pay taxes? Necessary. But that's hardly belonging. Contribute to your community? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. How much you're contributing? Enough according to whom? Every test falls apart. So maybe we've been forcing two words to compete that don't actually compete. Florida native, that tells me where your story started. Floridian, maybe that tells me where your life is now. And guess what? I like that answer. There is just one problem. Who gave me the authority to define Floridian? Nobody. Which means I can't settle this argument, but you might. Natives, it's your turn now, because if you were born and raised in Florida, I genuinely want your answer. Can somebody who moved here ever become a Floridian? If yes, what earns it? 5 years, 20, putting down roots, contributing to the community, something else? And if your answer is absolutely never, I want that answer too. But tell me why. And if you move to Florida Forget how many years you've been here. I want to know something else. When did Florida stop being the place you moved to and became home? Was there that moment? Finding your people, building your business, raising your kids, buying a house? Or did absolutely nothing dramatic happen? Did you just realize one random Tuesday, I'm not new here anymore, oh my God? Because maybe that's the moment we've been looking for. So, am I a transplant? Technically, sure. Romania, Canada, US, Chicago, Tampa, Wesley Chapel. At this point, I'm apparently a very well-traveled plant. But I know this. I didn't choose Florida because it's perfect. It's not. And I didn't choose Wesley Chapel because it's perfect. It isn't. I chose where I live because at this point in my life, this is where the life I want to build makes sense. And maybe that's why the question isn't only, where should I move? Maybe the question is, where do I want to put down my roots? Because a house gives you the address, a closing gives you the keys, a driver license can say Florida. But none of those can make somewhere feel like home. You build that part. And then one day, you leave Florida to go on vacation or on a trip. You get a plane to come back. You land, you walk outside. That ridiculous wall of Florida humidity smacks you directly in the face. And somehow, you breathe in, you relax and think, oh, I'm home. Thank God I'm home. Maybe that's when the transplant expires. Or maybe a native Floridian is about to tell me I'm completely wrong. I'm Monica Ștefănescu with Florida Sunny Shores, the Tampa Bay Decision Realtor. So, when does a transplant really becomes a Floridian? I'll meet you in the comments.